Hey, how many? Shit, it's the 28th of June, 2020.
That's one red, one white, one red, one white, and on that. And then I got this one. I'm going to get on top of it. And hopefully we can, and we've been busy today going and paying bills. Right there. And that's going to go all the way down. Now, and I'm going to work on this quilt, and I'm going to...
Testing and our reporting. Are we being had here, people? I mean, I know the answer already, but just do it. Any 3-digit number followed by 2 cases, hit enter, keep changing the number, and keep scrolling. Wow.
I wish I could get this a whole lot better.
I just want to be clear in terms of the definition of people dying of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that if even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death.
Technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death.
So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death.
Everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death.
You weighed in on a theory that's been floating around that perhaps the number of fatalities related to COVID-19 is being inflated because people are actually dying of other things. What's your read on that theory?
Savannah, there is absolutely no evidence that that's the case at all.
There is absolutely no evidence that that's the case at all.
Man, and they're buying it.
Oh,
There is absolutely no evidence that that's the case at all. I think it falls under the category
you see what
of something
when he's
that's very
talking and saying that
unfortunate. These
they
conspiracy
growth
theories that we hear about.
it's more like
Every time we have a
60,000, not
crisis of
100
any
to 200,000.
sort, there's
But
always
they're
this
not putting
popping
no
up
other
of
day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the deaths that we're seeing are coronavirus
You do know I'm
deaths,
recording
and the
this.
other deaths are not being counted as coronavirus death.
I like that character there.
And the other deaths are not being counted as coronavirus death.
There are other countries that if you had a pre-existing condition, and let's say the virus caused you to go to the ICU and then have a heart or kidney problem, some countries are recording that as a heart issue or a kidney issue and not a COVID-19 death. Right now we're still recording it, and the great thing about having forms that come in and a form that has the ability to mark it as COVID-19 infection.
I can't read that. There we go. Assumed to have the cat cause or the conglomerate, I don't know what that word is, to death. Oh, so it's just assuming Rick, I assume you've got
great thing
COVID.
about having forms that come in and a form that has the ability to mark it as COVID-19 infection. The intent is right now that if someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that.
If someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that.
I think the deaths that we're seeing are coronavirus deaths, and the other deaths are not being counted as coronavirus deaths.
Technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death. Everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death.
Doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death.
I'm up on stage.
60,000 deaths.
And all the rage I feel inside of me.
You died of a motorcycle wreck, and you had your head cut off, but it was a COVID case.
You probably lived
If he didn't have COVID, he probably could have lived. Yeah, look at the numbers, people. Look at the numbers here.
Perhaps the number of
33
fatalities related to COVID-19 is being inflated because people are actually dying of other things. What's your read on that theory?
You know, Savannah, there is absolutely no evidence that that's the case at all.
There's absolutely no evidence that that's the case at all.
You know, I think it falls under
There's
the category of something
evidence.
that's very unfortunate. These conspiracy theories that
Yeah.
we hear
maybe
about.
more like 60.
We control the disease by controlling the information.
You can't protect the public by lying to them.
It's done every day.
I won't be a party to it.
Movies.
What about you?
You're still asleep. Wake up.
Did you guys see earlier last week or late last week there was a story out of Connecticut where the governor came out, tweeted and said a child, an infant, died in Connecticut of coronavirus. And then the parents came out and said, no, my child did not die of coronavirus. My child had an accident at home and died from that. It is just crazy. And oh, by the way, don't you think it's really interesting if you look at the stats of how not right now all the COVID-19 coronavirus deaths are rising? Guess what's dropping massively? Deaths from pneumonia, deaths from the flu, and deaths from heart disease and heart attacks. Don't you think it's a bit ironic? What, are people not dying from heart attacks anymore? Are people not dying from pneumonia? Are they not dying from the flu? Nope. Apparently COVID-19 and coronavirus fixed that. So now every person that dies now, for the most part, is getting labeled, toe tagged with COVID-19 coronavirus. Think about that, people, because in our country, it is illegal to make claims about curing anything unless it's a drug. Did you know that? It's against the law. It is against the law. If you come to my office and we give you vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and IV therapy, and we give you good foods, and we get your diet right, and we get you healthy neurologically, and your cancer goes away, and if we claim that we cured your cancer, Dr. E's going to jail. Dr. E's practice is shutting down. But if we do all this work and your symptoms and sickness goes away, guess what? That's not our problem. That's the world you're living in. But most of you don't know that because we're stuck with our heads either in the ground or up our rectum. It's time to pull your cranium out of your rectum and wake up and go, what the hell's really going on right now? Because there's a lot of crazy shit happening in the world and a lot of fake news. And oh, mark my words, this week is supposed to be the week of hell in our world. It's because of crap like this. So I'm going to encourage every one of you, wherever you're at in the world right now, see behind the curtain. It's like that movie, The Wizard of Oz, when the great and powerful Oz is there, and Dorothy and Toto and the Tin Man are all there, and they're all scared to death because this big fire-breathing man is telling them this is what's going on. And what's really happens, Toto goes and pulls the curtain back, and we see that there's a little old senile man behind the curtain that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. That's what's happening in our system right now, and you're being lied to, and you're being a sheep, and you're letting it happen. That's your decision if you want to do that. And we're seeing false information put out all the time from newscasts all over the country about hospitals being overrun and about people dying in the streets and about little babies dying just to scare the hell out of you, and it's being shown to be fake news.
Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you are really great and
powerful, you keep your promises. Do you presume to criticize the great Oz? You ungrateful creatures! Think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Are they overworking you inside there, man?
I work down at work today.
It's bad?
It's not as bad as you think.
It's not as bad as I think?
Yeah. It's strange. I don't want to sit one way or another until
But I see on TV that, you know, it's chaos.
everything you see on TV is something.
I'm gonna switch it. Because I come here and everything is normal.
I'm under promise I'm down at Kings County. Deaths that we're seeing, everybody who dies has coronavirus and deaths. Everybody who ends up having anything is coronavirus on the death certificate. And we're bringing in a bunch of people from out of town. We get doctors coming in from Nebraska. I don't know what the hell they're doing. A lot of people die because of it. I don't know if it's coronavirus or because it's just a breakdown of the health system and we finally scared ourselves shitless. It's very bizarre and I don't want to comment on it.
Guys, keep this down. It sounds like you have a good head.
Do you agree with Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mulvaney, that the coronavirus is the hoax of the day?
What's going on with the volume?
The coronavirus hoax. Governments love crises because when the people are fearful, they are more willing to give up freedoms for promises that the government will take care of them.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
This was artificially induced. We just said, they said, close it down. You have to close it down. We closed it down. This was artificially induced. We just said, they said, close it down. You have to close it down. We closed it down.
This matters going forward. We're in a live exercise here. We're in a live exercise here. We're in a live exercise here to get this right.
But I was saying, of this virus, I think we're in the middle of a massive experiment worldwide. That would be, it's an interesting experiment we're in the middle of.
People don't see it.
October 18th.
2019.
How can people not see this?
They don't want to. They want to think that the government is. They don't want to think that the government's out there to hurt them. And if they don't wake up.
Please take your blinders off. Ask the Lord to do it for you. So in other words, keep ourselves separated. That's a good one.
For the world
World Health Organization, Director General Dr. Tedros. And now we move on to the World Bank, the World Economic Forum. For the International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, for Gavi, the Vaccines Alliance, for the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, CEPI. Without you, Victor, my friend, all this would not have happened.
I'm Victor Zhao, President of the U.S. National Academy of Medicine and a board member of GPMB, the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board.
Okay, y'all can go to his channel, and you guys can finish watching it if you would like. Mini Fish. Subscribe to him and tell him Poor Man Sewing sent you.